Hey folks, Phil Gallagher here for another stream in one day. Legacy's so great, I just can't stop playing. And my girlfriend has a play performance tonight, and I'm not going to the one tonight, so might as well keep the Legacy flowing. So for our second league of the day, we are going to be playing a blue-green Omnitell deck. If you are interested in this deck, I highly recommend listening to it's either the most recent or maybe one before that now episode of the Everyday Eternal podcast, hosted by Julian and Eric, and Callum Smith was the third for that one. Highly recommend it. They do a real deep dive about various versions of this deck list, why you should be playing it, and whatnot. So essentially, we are a show and tell deck that does not really have a plan B. Your plan is, I am going to resolve show and tell and win from there. So there's nothing like sneak attack or Eureka as an alternate way to put creatures in. It's all in on show and tell. So if your show and tells get ripped from your deck somehow, life is bad. You have Veil of Summer and Force of Will to protect your show and tells. So you have 8 ways to help force it through, and you have a ton of dig. Brainstorm, Ponder, Preordain, Kind of Ice Fang Coatl, Impulse, Drown from Dreams. You get a lot of ways to dig for the pieces that you need. Specifically, we are playing Eric's version, that is E.W. Landon, and his version has lotus petals so that we can go off as quickly as possible. You'll notice the sideboard kind of looks like a hot mess. That's because we are a Cunning Wish deck list. So, minus the Carpet of Flowers and the Grafdigger's Cage, the rest of the stuff that's over here represents all of the various things that we can wish for. So, in most matchups, we basically are not sideboarding. It is just our plan to, like, ram this stuff into what our opponent is doing and hope to beat them. We have a ton of utility for various matchups. We can Mind Break Trap infinite copies of, a Brain Freeze. We can surgically extract off Cunning Wish. We can answer just about anything we need to off a Cunning Wish. But we don't actually get to board in a lot of cards. We do have Carpet of Flowers for blue mirrors, though, which is pretty sick and can do things like just let you hardcast a Griselbrand or Omniscience and make your opponent deal with that. I do want to thank Chris T for supporting this league with a donation, as well as Dr. Bill from earlier, who gifted a sub to make it so that I would run back another stream tonight. Let's hop into a league, see how we do. Blue-green Omnitell. Yes. Battle. Haven't managed to claim a trophy on stream this week. I think the trophy that I got was off stream. Gotten real close. Multiple real strong 4-1 finishes. Really thought we were going to get there with Splinter Twin, but it was not in the cards. Had just an absolute crazy week of Magic. This won't necessarily be the norm, but I'm enjoying it while I can. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna just like pull up my YouTube channel and just like think about what all we've done this week because I don't even remember at this point. It's just like a crazy blur. Oh no, never mind. But it's been like 2 Curses decks, Splinter Twin, post from earlier today. Just a huge, huge variety. Yes. Keep. With a land off of either Brainstorm or Ponder, we can just show and tell on turn 2 if we're willing to just jam. Yeah, the primetime lands. I think the Applejacks was this week as well. And if it wasn't Monday, it was Saturday, so still within, like, the last week. One thing I didn't talk about in the deck tech, we have Mystic Sanctuary. The Force of Will is interesting, but I think I'm just going to take any card in hopes of finding a land. Beautiful. Sorry, the Mystic Sanctuary that's in the deck list is another copy of Show and Tell if our Show and Tell gets countered, which is really sick. And I think I'm 100% willing to just jam against Forest. Show me what you're working with. I put in Omniscience. What do you put in? Caracas. Well, we'll beat that. I'm going to pull that clip up and I'll watch it later. Cunning Wish for Firemind's Foresight. Firemind's Foresight with Omniscience. So we get a 3. That's Cunning Wish. We get a 2. That's Impulse. We get a 1. I guess that's just a Brainstorm. So I have any number of ways to do this from here. Let's just turn this into a different card first, though. I guess I'll take that. Yeah, I know. I'm the bad guy now. Is Cunning Wish's ability? Yes. Shared Summons. Cast with Omniscience. Get 2 creature cards. Emrakul, Grizzlebrand. Finish searching. Done. Cast with Omniscience. Oh, my opponent is done with me. But I was waiting for you to Caracas so I could Cunning Wish for... It's not Trickbind, but the card that's like Trickbind. Okay, so... Sideboarding. Do we sideboard? Probably not. The thing is that Cunning Wish gives us access to all of this stuff. No, we already beat the Caracas sets in play with Emrakul. Like, we cast Emrakul and Grizzlebrand. If my opponent bounces one of them, like, I just do it again. And if they try to bounce it, I beat them anyway. I don't want to click to release the ants tonight if I don't have to. So I guess my Veils probably aren't good, right? But, like, what am I boarding in if I take them out? So, like, if my opponent's playing Maverick or a deck like Maverick, and I board these out because they're not really good, I can board in one of my bounce spells, but I need to keep one in the board. I could board in the 2 Grafdigger's Cage. I think I can board in the Intuition. It's awkward because I lose the ability to Cunning Wish for Intuition. Oh, really? Is my opponent playing lands? And they're just on a strange start? Or, Wick 3. Oh, they do play lands. Hold up. Hold up. Okay. Then I'm probably fine with just hard boarding in the surgical. The cages are bad. 13 seconds thinking. We'll board properly if we go to a game 3. Yeah, so my opponent was last seen on just like traditional red-green lands. No Oko or anything. We have no manipulation here, no show and tell. So I think this is a very free mulligan. Yikes. How many hits? How many hits? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. That is a lot of hits. And the game's going to go long. I think I am comfortable keeping this. Pitching a show and tell. That puts the show and tell back in the deck in case something goes wrong. And I have force pitching omniscience. It's like we drew it up that way. And we have force pitching omniscience for if something goes wrong. Yeah, but we didn't need to hit in the first 2 turns. Don't disagree that we're lucky. But that wasn't a, like, if we miss, we die situation. And that is the reason why I put Omniscience in ahead of time. Or sorry, why we put Lotus Petal in ahead of time. I'm going to leave my Force of Will up so that I can beat Force of Vigor on my Omniscience. And just pass the turn here. No, it's not that big of an oof. I feel very safe right now. The other upside of this is that I just get to, like, wait 1 more turn before casting my Brainstorm, so I'm less likely to just Brainstorm lock myself. Yeah, I don't love that. I think I will go ahead and force and pitch Omniscience there. Oh no, I can just cast it with Omniscience. Haha. All right. All right, I have Brainstorm locked myself. I'm probably going to need to surgical myself to get through that. So I need to be thinking about Croson Grip as something that's pretty annoying. So I think I have two choices. Surgical myself to just, like, shuffle through the crap that's on top of my library, or Echoing Truth his sphere, surgical his spheres, and then draw through 2 turns of crap. I think it's better to just ignore the sphere and surgical myself. So I'm going to put back Trop and Omniscience. Surgical Extraction, my own Lotus Petals, since those are a dead draw. Let's get the one out of the graveyard, too, for good measure. And now I have either Force of Will or Echoing Truth available to me. Unfortunately, with things kind of the way they are... Ooh, alright. That's scary. Yeah, good thing I get to double sinkhole my opponent if they just go for it. This also puts my opponent out of range of Croson gripping my Omniscience, which is one of the things that I'm most scared of right now. Yeah, I don't think stopping that for 1 turn does a whole lot. You've already played a land for turn. You can have that. Alright, Ice Fang Coatl, find me something. Go, little buddy. Alright. Um... So I'm really just looking for... I don't know what I'm looking for. I can get 2 spells this turn. I probably can't die if I just draw 7 more. Cunning Wish isn't actually particularly good, right? Well, no, I guess Cunning Wish gets me Rushing River to bounce the sphere, and then I can go ham. Yeah, I think it's worth drawing 7 more. Yeah, there's Cunning Wish. Okay. I don't need the kicker on Rushing River. Does it let me target anything? Yeah, sure. Can't do both. Target Sphere of Resistance. Now we just get Emrakul. And Bob's your uncle. Mind Break Trap. Cool story, bro. GG indeed. Kind of cool that my opponent had a sneaky Mind Break Trap hiding under their sphere. I used the free card. Yeah, we could have veiled for style. I just clicked on the first counterspell I saw, if I'm being honest. I mean, once the opponent's sphere was off the table and I had like 37 billion cards in hand, it didn't matter too much what we did. Deck list felt real impressive there. Let's battle again, shall we? We have Show and Tell, so I keep this hand. We have multiple cantrips in hand to just find lands, which is what we'll be looking to do at first. We'll bottom that Show and Tell. We will top the Tropical Island. We are going to potentially be looking for either Force or Veil before we go off against this opponent. I think I'm going to start by brainstorming without playing a land. Does not get a reaction from my opponent. Hand's pretty good. We're looking for something to put in. Intuition can get that. I don't really see myself wanting to play Ice Fang Coatl right now. I'm going to put that back. And impulse seems slow right now, so I'm going to put that back. So we're just going to bottom both of those there. Oh, there we go. There we go. No, drawn is what we want if we, like, say, hit an omniscience, or if our show and tell plan fizzles in one way or another. Yeah, Arglypuff, that was the whole reason that we played the Brainstorm first. Since we didn't have a fetch land or a ponder to shuffle, we needed to use the Preordain to just clear away the weaker cards from our hand. We may be playing a mirror, in which case things can get real weird real quick. I think I'm incentivized to just go for it. I have a piece of counter magic backup. I don't really have a good play this turn if I don't go for it. The real question is, like, what will I pitch to Force of Will? I believe it is my Drawn from Dreams. Since Intuition can just... shit. That is what it is there. If we draw a land, we can just show and tell again, and that's totally fine. Again, since we had no play that didn't, without using our Lotus Petal, I think we have to go for it. Veil's pretty strong. There's probably 8 Veils main deck between the two of us right now. Jam. Make an Intuition in response. But I think I just let that go. Because I'm going to end up... Assuming they somehow get rid of my Grizzlebrand. No, I should respond with Intuition here. In case they draw into Veil of Summer. Because this targets... That's kind of annoying. So now my opponent just finds Force of Will, and I lose. Oh, they didn't find it in the first 14. They do only have 3 copies of it to find. Oh my gosh, okay. Cool. Yeah, a lot of mirrors are ridiculous. This one is particularly bad. My opponent does not even wait for me to play it out. Writing was on the wall there. So I think I like Carpet of Flowers for the mirror. It just gives me the out of being able to hard cast my Grizzlebrand or Omniscience if the mirror drags on. I don't particularly like Icefang Coatl. Doesn't really seem like the best use of my time. And I would need to board out one more card if I want to board 3 forces. Sorry, 3 carpets. No, like I 100% need a show and tell to go off. I think I have to keep all of them. This isn't like a sneak and show mirror where you just intend on winning via sneak attack instead so you can trim or cut show and tells. Like, I need this card to start going off. I'm not going to trim one. I'm more inclined to do something like this because I think the mirror is going to go long. And I've boarded in a different mana source. Like, I don't want to be using my cantrips to find show and tell. I want to be using my cantrips to set it up so I can win the counter war. This is fine. See, there we go. I don't think I'm going to use my show and tell, or sorry, I don't think I'm going to use my ponder this turn, though. I think I'm just going to wait a turn and ponder when I can just take one card out of it instead. That's an interesting draw. So next turn I can show and tell with Force of Will backup. If I don't use this ponder. But I don't know that I'm ready yet, and if I'm not ready yet, I should just ponder. I'd rather go off with 2 pieces of protection, so let's look and see what our options are. Another show and tell. I will take that card. Shuffle away the rest. The show and tell can be Force of Will fodder if I need it to be. Yeah, but Lewis, I don't think I'm going to try to go off next turn. Like, my opponent hasn't made any plays yet. I am nervous. It's the mirror. So, like, I know my opponent has Veils. I know they have plenty of counter spells. They haven't taken an action yet. The awkward thing is if I just jam and my opponent goes off. Like, if I jam, my opponent forces, I can't really... Like, I could force back. But if they can fight with 2 pieces, which is at least somewhat likely, I just, like, probably flat out lose. I think I'm going to wait one more turn. Like, the upside of me going and finding, like, a veil is just so huge. Kind of sucks that I don't have any cantrips right now. Like, I have everything that I need to win, but my opponent is getting to sculpt while I'm just passing without using mana. I can't afford to force that. It's just very good. I really don't like this. Because my opponent just gets all the mana that they've used this turn. Yikes. I either need to Force of Will this, or go off on my turn. Those are the two options. I do not think that I am favored in a long fight now. My opponent has more mana than I do. And this library is a disaster for me. I'm going to let it go. But now, I think because of my decision, I'm priced into just jamming on my turn. I immediately regret that, remembering that I have Mystic Sanctuary, but I guess I have another fetch line for that. Here we go. Force plus Veil beats me. All right. I have an Omniscience. You have an Omniscience. I think I just take my Emrakul here. I do that before we run into something like Mindbreak Trap, right? Mindbreak Trap just exiles it, right? It doesn't actually counter. Destroy target enchantment. I will Force of Will that. Actually, I should read Mindbreak Trap. Let's read Mindbreak Trap. Yeah, if an opponent casts 3 or more spells this turn, you may pay 0 rather than pay Mindbreak Trap's mana cost. Exile any number of spells. So I cast Show and Tell, and I cast Emrakul. So if I were to cast Force of Will and counter that, then I open up my Emrakul to getting Mindbreak Trapped. Is that fine? Mindbreak Trap is probably in my opponent's sideboard. Oh, it doesn't matter since my opponent has Omni. So I should just kill this, I guess. Actually, is my Omniscience even relevant at this point? I'm going to get to destroy 6 of my opponent's permanents, so they get left with 1 thing. And I have Force of Will to beat anything my opponent has except their own Emrakul. Yeah, I let this go. Nice, nice cycle. Ooh. Ooh. Alright, is my Echoing Truth in my sideboard? My Echoing Truth is in my sideboard. I can just Cunning Wish for Echoing Truth, Omniscience. I don't think I want to Show and Tell to just, like, risk my opponent having something else. Like, I can just keep one of these as a Force of Will fodder and just Cunning Wish instead. You have Force of Will. I have Force of Will. Nice. Making the mirror look easy. Immorality. I wanted to make sure that I got my extra turn out of that, and I wanted to play my uncounterable thing first. It's probably, like, what I was thinking about there was Mindbreak Trap, which, like, maybe I shouldn't have been, but that was kind of like the thing that was on my mind. And if I play the Omniscience and my opponent has, like, bad example because, like, they let the Show and Tell result, but if they had something like Force of Will plus Return to Nature, I don't actually get the chance to cast my Emrakul, and it's just absolutely devastating for me. And I just lose any chance of winning. So just, like, 100% get my Emrakul, get my extra turn, then we'll go from there. That's my reasoning. You know, I don't have reps in with the Show and Tell, sorry, the Blue-Green Omniscience Show and Tell deck to, like, really know for sure if that's the way that I should fight that. But that was my gut indication. They had Veil, remember? Like, they have Veil, we have Veil. You don't want to try to deal with too many counter wars if you don't have to. Like, my Show and Tell resolved, which doesn't necessarily mean my opponent has no counter magic. All we're missing is the Show and Tell. Without the ability to cantrip without hemorrhaging resources, I think this hand is pretty bad. I like this one much more. We'll get rid of one of our Veils of Summer. This hand is just safer. The previous hand has some huge upside if I do draw the show and tell. But, like, me drawing cantrips with that hand isn't necessarily good. Womp, 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 womp. So with show and tell, we're in good shape. Hand isn't necessarily great as is. We're going to need both mana and a show and tell. Probably lots of mana if our opponent plays Thalia. I think I need both of these. I'm not willing to force a will a turn 2 play. We're going to bottom those. Yikes. Well, my opponent's Phyrexian Revoker will look real hot if they have it, but I'm going to play these out in fear of Thalia. Can I call it or what? Seriously? Seriously? Ugh. That, like, physically pains me. Whew. Okay. Alright. We're just gonna pass the turn. Sure. Alright, I can't help myself. I gotta do it. Okay. Like, I have 2 Lotus Petals on board, and you have a Phyrexian Revoker. You're playing against a combo deck. You don't know what combo deck yet, based on information that's shown, but you're given the opportunity to take away 2 mana sources. If I am a Storm-based deck, that is huge. If I am a Show and Tell-based deck, that is the difference between me being able to potentially cast and not cast a card. And if you have Rishadenport in hand, then you get to, like, deny 2 mana, get rid of a 3rd, and potentially keep me off of Show and Tell. The Stoneforge Mystic also isn't doing a ton, like, in terms of, like, helping you win the game, so it's way better to just choke me on mana, be attacking for 3, probably not 2, but for 3 with the creatures that you have on board, and then when you have 4 mana, you can play this and more safely go for a kill later. Alright. I'm done. I've said my piece. I was trying not to, but it happened. Alright, so just to talk about a line that I can do, I could Cunning Wish for Intuition, Intuition for Emrakul, or Show and Tell, or something like that, but I don't think I'm there yet in terms of resources, and it costs me a Lotus Petal too. So I'll pass the turn, and I'll consider a Cunning Wish this turn. Why? Why are you tapping out? Don't do it. Don't do it, friend. Rashad so good. Also, like, what are you? Now that this is pro blue and pro red, what are you trying to save it from? I think at this point I am willing to Cunning Wish for Intuition. It's awkward because it's not the immediate win that I want, but Intuition for Show and Tell means that a top deck cantrip puts me into a situation where I can actually win. I love it, Stryfo. I do still need to draw some gas. But I do have 6 mana available, so if I spike something good, I can just go for it. Yeah, Intuition for Show and Tell, cast Show and Tell, Omniscience, Omniscience, Drawn from Dreams, go. Show and Tell, Show and Tell, Show and Tell. Done. In before opponent just like Show and Tells in Thalia, and I absolutely lose my mind. Alright, you're the Monarch. Cool. Alright, I get 2 of these. I'm going to take a Grizzlebrand. And probably just a Ponder. Oops, forgot about that. That was such a bad play earlier that I didn't care about it, so I misplayed in turn. Oops. But that's fine. So I could have gotten an Ice Fang Coatl instead of Grizzlebrand and been 1 card deeper. So that's my current error. Not the end of the world, but not great. There was not a second cantrip there, right? I can't actually look at what was revealed for Drawn from Dreams, so I don't remember. Yeah, but not a real cantrip, right? The opponent just missed lethal. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Opponent just missed lethal. Oh, geez, was there a second drawn from dreams in there? If I revealed a second drawn from dreams, then I totally punted this away. Okay. So instead of Grizzlebrand, we could have had the little blue Strix thing and gotten one card deeper. All right. Cast with Omniscience. We're going to put back both of these Veils of Summer because they're just dead. Cast with Omniscience. That was a strong impulse right there. That was a strong impulse. So our Ice Fang Coatl last turn would not have gotten there. So good to know. So real talk, I do want to talk for a second. Is it actually correct for me to take the Grizzlebrand or the Ice Fang Coatl in the situation that I was in? So the Ice Fang Coatl gets me one card deeper, but actually doesn't really soak up any damage because of the sword that my opponent has on the Revoker. So the Grizzlebrand threatens to stall out the non-Revoker portion of the board. My opponent can Mom Pro Black Revoker with sword on it, and then use that to only get through with that. But if they do, then I just swing back in the air for 7 with Grizzlebrand, and I just have like the 7/7 Lifelinker. That's better than their board. So real talk, I'm not sure that I misplayed. Like, I did not think through my situation, but is Grizzlebrand actually better than the Ice Fang Coatl there? I think there's a real discussion to be had. Okay, anyway, Veil of Summer suck. Let's get those out of the deck. What do I have that I can actually play? Very few cards. I can just board in an Echoing Truth. Could board this in as a 4-mana counterspell. Is this just a regular counterspell? No, this needs to stay in the board for Wish. I can just naturally board that in. Force of Vigor is really hard to cast. I need to leave a bounce spell in the board. I guess it just looks like this. And I just have to be aware that a good portion of the time I can't actually cast this Force of Vigor early on. Nope. God, this is also just absolutely awful. This is turn 3 drawn from dreams. I think I just mulligan to a hand that can show and tell. Yo, I'm in. Let's do it. Keep. Put back 2 cards. I'm going to choose this one, and I'm going to choose this one. Done. Land. Fetch. Some tech here. We're going to get a snow-covered island. We're going to pedal. We're going to pedal. We're going to show and tell. What do you got? Your evoker, it's not quite what you're looking for. You have 2 to 3 copies of Caracas as outs. Hold up. Hold up. All right. I was going to say, like, if you play another card into my Annihilate 6, I'm going to lose it. Man, these opening hands have been something. This is interesting. I think this is a keep. So I have the 3 mana that I need for Show and Tell. The Mystic Sanctuary, unfortunately, enters tapped. Intuition can get me my Show and Tell target, but my mana is like super awkward and prone to disruption. So I don't know that I can actually rely on this to get my other combo piece. So against Death and Taxes, if you're a Show and Tell player, if your hand is bad, just jam. Like 100%, just jam, hope it works. You will kill Death and Taxes players a decent percentage of the time just by the virtue of them choosing wrong or just not having the right piece at the right time. Yes. That's fine. That's very beatable. I do not. Oh, their name is clever, is it? That's not bad. You're off to a start, opponent. The bad news is that you are, like, deterministically... Well, not deterministically. You're about 95% dead on my turn. I pay 1 mana, cast Intuition. Oh no, I can't Intuition for triple Emrakul, right? I only have 1 Emrakul. Ooh, you're not actually dead. So I get Emrakul, Grizzlebrand, something scary. Like Emrakul, Grizzlebrand, Cunning Wish. So I think this is a fine start. So I target you, do this. So I will go with Emrakul, Grizzlebrand, Cunning Wish. My opponent will give me Cunning Wish. I'll use Cunning Wish in their turn. We had 4 Veils to board out. Don't overthink it. It's just bad. Like, we had dead cards that we converted into bad cards. So, those of you talking about the shared summons lines, remember that this Deafening Silence is in play. So I need something that I can go and cast on my opponent's turn. So, Cunning Wish needs to be the third thing there. And they're going to give us the Cunning Wish because the other things are just disastrous. Right, Cunning Wish is the worst of the options. The other options are better. The Emrakul is pretty much forced to go to the graveyard there. So unless my opponent is playing something like Surgical Extraction, it's just a free roll. Use Cunning Wish's ability. Yes. This gets shared summons. Opponent now needs to have Flicker Wisp at the end step for my Omniscience. They do not. Life is bad for them. They also did not port me. Okay. I'm confused. I'm going to search for Emrakul and Grizzlebrand. I am done searching. I'm going to cast Emrakul. Alright. I hope this video finds its way to my opponent so they can see some of the errors that they made. I think that game should not have been as free as it was. Like, opponent did not necessarily play well that game. They made tactical errors that were very costly. And you can't afford errors like that when you're playing D&T. The games are often super close, and you need to play tight. You need to figure out what is going to beat you and how to stop it. So the only reason why I won game 1, I think it was game 1 in that set, was because my opponent chose to revoke a Grizzlebrand over my 2 on-board Lotus Petals. I got to 6 mana so that I could Intuition for Show and Tell in the same turn. That was my big out to win that game. All right, was that game 2 that I did that? Or no, I bricked off of that. Yeah, okay. So it's hard to remember which game is what. So like my opponent gave me these absolute huge percentage margins due to the choices that they made. Oh yeah, game 2, I just killed them in like 30 seconds with Emrakul. Yeah, I remember that. Okay, I'm going to take a second and run to the restroom. I will be right back. Alright. Back in the queue we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, so in that game 2, where I just played the show and tell, they definitely made, like, they're on very few outs, but they definitely made mistakes, right? So you don't play the planes that they had there. You just, like, attack with the Revoker, see if for some reason I don't block, and you pass the turn. You take 15, you sacrifice the Revoker if it's not already dead, and then you hope to top deck Caracas. I was on, like, literally no resources, so if they draw a Caracas, like, there is nothing that I can do to get back in that game if their hand is at all reasonable. Like, if they went, like, top deck Caracas into, like, another land and Athalia, that's probably enough to beat me on its own. Because I won't be able to cantrip into, like, another attempt to go off. So, yeah, 100% opponent had better options there. Now, it's not to say that I played perfectly either, right? Like, I probably made a mistake by... I potentially made a mistake by taking the Grizzlebrand. That's not 100% sure, because I don't remember what the cards were. I didn't even think about the Grizzlebrand being revoked because it was such a bad play when my opponent did it. But, you know, there we are. Inoxia, thank you very much for following. I hope you're enjoying the games here. We're already off to a quick 3-0 start. So really happy with this league. Deck is feeling quite powerful thus far. I mean, when you have people like Eric and Julian and Callum all talking the deck up, even though they're very, very different types of players, you know, there's got to be something to it. I'm not sure that the deck is as good as it was prior to Theros Beyond Death, though. I'm not sure how you fare against the Breach decks. Because a version like this doesn't actually have, like, the pierces that many of the show and tell decks do, so you don't have as much early interaction. But at the same time, you also have these Veils, and your opponent can't kill you with Veil. Or no, can they kill you with Thassa's Oracle through Veil? Yes, they can kill you with Thassa's Oracle through Veil, so never mind. Veil doesn't stop the combo. The Hackbird. Drawn cards were Force of Will, Grizzlebrand, Coatl, Ponder, Veil, Misty Island. Thank you for that. So, easy question, the Hackbird. Yes, you could run Tombs over City of Traders. Your Delver matchup would get a little bit worse. So, looking back at it, I actually do think that taking the Grizzlebrand is better than the Coatl. The Coatl gets you one more card deeper, but the Grizzlebrand gives you a better chance at stabilizing against the idiots that are on the other side of the battlefield. So I think if I thought that one through, I probably would have taken the Grizzlebrand. Turn 1 show and tell, put in Icefang Coatl. So JD, there is a guaranteed Saturday morning stream. And if we get 3 donations tonight, I'll do a Saturday evening stream as well. No, we're not jamming it when we have nothing. We're just going to play Snow-Covered Island and pass. Then we'll play Misty Rainforest and pass. Do an end of my opponent's turn, Icefang Coatl. And go from there. Show and tell, put in Drawn from Dreams. Costs 4 mana. Cheat it in, boys. Yeah, Show and Tell is a pretty good hymn to Turok. If we were Sneak and Show, I'd consider getting cheeky like that, but we are not Sneak and Show. Like, we need this to resolve to win the game. Alright, was not playing around that one. That's okay, though. Not going for that. I would rather Drawn from Dreams. It's kind of a costly spell, Pierce, if that was something that occurred. No counterspell? No counterspell. So I thought we would either find Force or Veil doing that, which is why I was willing to sack my Petal and play my Soul Land out, because I was pretty sure that we would like go for broke next turn. But this is very not good in terms of like just going for it in the immediate future. I think I'm going to take Cunning Wish and Impulse, since they're instants that I can cast on my opponent's turn. I don't foresee myself wanting to just jam immediately now that I've missed out on Veil. So I think I'll just pass the turn and end of my opponent's turn, either Cunning Wish or Impulse, depending on how things develop. Probably Impulse. And make my decision from there. I'm getting super punished for getting Forest early on instead of Trop. Arglypuff, I don't mean this as an insult, so, like, please don't take it as such, but I don't think you understand the role of Show and Tell in a matchup like this one, given our deck. So, Show and Tell is the card that I need to win. There is not any replacement for that card. I cannot throw away a Show and Tell willy-nilly when I know that it is not likely to resolve and win me the game. We have exactly 4 of them, and if I go down one of them when I am already in an awkward situation in terms of my mana, I don't think I win. This is not like Sneak and Show, where a Show and Tell or a Sneak attack is fine. So you can just jam, and if it gets countered, you don't care. This is a very different deck. Specifically, the version that we're playing doesn't even have Eureka's as backup. It is all in on Show and Tell. I think I'm just going to Impulse. Impulse plays around Pierce, but does not play around Snapcaster Spell Snare. Ooh! It's a Veil of Summer. Look at that. So, note that I am so invested in my show and tell resolving that I'm doing this. Not playing it after show and tell is on the stack, but I'm playing it proactively, where my opponent either counters this or they probably lose. There's no risk taking with my show and tell here. So there's Force, Pitch, Snapcaster Mage. I don't really hate Cunning Wish for Surgical. Surgical, they're Force of Wills at their end step. I think I'm pretty likely to do that. So I think I'm just going to let this go and pass the turn. Oh yeah, like, you can tap some mana. If I had more mana up, I could get super cute and, like, counter that trigger. Oh man, please target Force of Will. Target Brainstorm. Yeah, that can go on top. That's fine. Ooh, opponent. Hold up. I wonder if opponent actually wanted to cast that. Because if they needed to cast that, they needed to not Mystic Sanctuary. Oh yeah, they could have used Astrolabe. That's true. So let's get rid of Force of Will and see what they have left over, shall we? The Operator, thank you very much for subscribing. You are the first of 3 subs for this stream to unlock a second stream tomorrow. Praise be to Thalia. Enjoy your emote, and thank you for month number 5 of support. Predict target themselves. Yeah, that's fine. Hold up. Hold up. Opponent casts Brainstorm, then casts Predict targeting themselves, names the wrong card, draws one card. Interesting. I will take Force of Will. I will take Force of Will. Unfortunately, opponent does have Force of Negation left, which is a nuisance. Opponent has Titania in their deck, as well as Mystical Dispute. So there's some weird things going on over there. Okay. If I draw in from Dreams, I lose my land. I guess that's fine. Let's counter a spell. So I can't really get to the point where Disallow actually works as a counter spell. And Mindbreak Trap isn't really good enough. Maybe I will just Drawn Through Dreams. I don't know that opponent can afford to let this one go. So this may cost them their Force of Will and their Force of Negation. Or sorry, their Brainstorm and their Force of Negation. This seems super loose, by the way. If you Brainstorm and miss out on a blue card, I feel like you just die. So I guess what they're trying to do is put their Entreat on top of the library while also getting a blue card for Force of Negation. Uh-huh. Yeah, they missed. Hold up. You didn't play the Entreat after all of that? I don't understand. Like, legit am confused. Opponent needs to have drawn Veil of Summer to beat me here. Oh, I guess Veil doesn't beat me. So we're not going to draw 7 yet. We're just going to pass the turn. We can't really combo off from this position. But the Grizzlebrand in play should be good enough. Totally fine with drawing 7 if my opponent Swords to Plowshares my Grizzlebrand, though. Yeah, sure. Like, we have an answer in hand to something already. Yeah, so like we can just force this. I guess like the next question is, do I want intuition or do I just like force this card as is? I think it's fine to draw 7 and pitch something that's less useful than the intuition. Oh, nice, and we have like Veil just in case. Hey, it's that Entreat the Angels. Yeah, that's fine. You can cast that. I'm fine with brainstorming in response to look for a counterspell. There's a Force of Will. We'll pitch Omniscience. We're not really going to need that this game. So we'll just put back like land, land, Force of Will, target Entreat. Actually, I can Intuition for... I made an error. I should have left the Soul Land on top so I could Intuition for Show and Tell, Omniscience, Show and Tell, Emrakul. We'll just pitch the Ponder. Now we'll pitch the Preordain. So I want the card that's on top of my library. No, I have not pitched a show. There's just one show in my graveyard. So I don't get to just go off this turn. I can guarantee go off next turn via Intuition, Show and Tell. Let's just see if I can go off just by finding a Show and Tell, though. No. So we can go any order, shuffle that. Because I can just Intuition already with the mana I have and Show and Tell next turn. We're so good. I'm not clicking through Release the Ants. Like, if it's the only way that I can kill my opponent, I will do it. But otherwise, I don't think I want to do that on Moto. Yeah, I mean, once you draw a whole bunch of cards against a blue deck, the world is your oyster. This has been a weird league. Alright, so opponent is essentially Miracles with a random Titania and Unexpectedly Absent in Mystical Dispute. This Carpet's going to be good. The Coatls are going to be bad. Most of the rest of our stuff is pretty good. I'll probably just trim a Lotus Petal since our games are probably going to go longer. could consider doing something like boarding in Mindbreak Trap, just as another counterspell for when we get into a counter war. But I think what I've got going on is probably just fine. Yes, Titania, the 5/3 that makes elementals. Stryfo is now interested in what's going on. I'm going to keep this. Carpet of Flowers is stupid good against a blue deck. Like, absolutely Force of Will worthy if you know, like, if you have played against Carpet of Flowers before, you know you can't let that card resolve in these blue mirrors. So, I'm treating the first Carpet of Flowers as bait, and the second one is a good way to win. Now, if these Carpet of Flowers resolve, after just a couple of turns, we're just going to get into the territory where we can hard cast our Grizzlebrands and Omnisciences. And I'm not exaggerating. I don't think I want to ponder. I could, but I'd rather just like keep this for the Force of Will for right now. I don't know. What am I going to Force of Will early? There's nothing I'm going to Force of Will until turn 3. So I'm not going to do that. We're going to get cute. We're going to make another green and re-carpet. Enjoy your islands, opponent. If opponent finds Astrolabe, they can kind of play around Carpet of Flowers a little bit. How many non-islands did they have last game? One snow-covered plains, one snow-covered forest. Stryfo has a lot of great ideas. Expert deck builder. We're going to add a blue here. I think with this trigger on the stack, let's Impulse. These are all of the things. I will take the... I kind of just want to take Drawn from Dreams, just like hard cast that, find 2 things with it. Because I'm missing a piece for Show and Tell anyway. So I think we're going to go on a value-oriented plan here. Am I crazy for thinking that? Because that feels pretty darn good to me. Double Carpet just really changes the texture of this game and puts it into an unusual position. I'm not sure that I have to take the Show and Tell. I have so much mana potentially available to me as this game goes along. I'm going to take the Drawn from Dreams. Blue. Let's ponder. And omniscience, a force of will, a land. It's fine. I kind of just want cantrips for after I drawn from dreams, though. Or that's fine. Alright. Each opponent can't cast non-creature spells with CMC greater than the number of lands that player controls. So the second clause here means that if I omniscience, it's no good. But the first half of this is invalidated relatively quickly. I think since this shuts off my Force of Wills anyway, I should just force this. I very much question my opponent's entire deck. No, that does not necessarily beat Carpet of Flowers. It just slows me down. So I get 2 of these. I'm going to take a Drawn from Dreams and a Brainstorm. This seems like a great opportunity to brainstorm, put back some of this mana that I don't need. I have plenty of that. I have plenty of mana. Didn't you get the memo? Alright, Lotus Petal, Tarn, go back, fetch, just fetch away the garbage. We can add 2 more mana, but I don't care about that this turn. We'll just say no there. So Mega Jazz, you are paired against people randomly. So you can play against like literally anyone with any record when you are in a league. It just pairs you against like first available person, but there's an asterisk by that. There's some slightly more complicated things than that behind it. Like they try not to pair you against someone else you've already played in the league, but it's generally speaking like next person who's ready to play, get them in there. This is not true for any sort of event with real prizes, like a challenge, a PTQ, something like that. Those are done just like a normal paper tournament would be by like Swiss pairings and whatnot in standings, but not the leagues. Straight up, can hardcast Grizzlebrand if I draw one. I have 10 mana available to me on my turn. I have 13 available if my opponent plays another island. If my opponent plays another land, it has to be an island. They don't have another... Or wait, did they have a basic plains? Let me check my snip. They might have had basic plains. Yeah, they have snow-covered plains. Nice. Blue. Yes. Blue. Yes. Blue, 6. Land, 7, 8. Just hard cast and Omniscience. Oh, hold on, I miscounted. No, that's 6, 7, 8. Oh, this thing costs 10. Excuse me. Alright, look. I haven't hard cast an Omniscience in a while. Now, my Mystic Sanctuary can enter untap, right? Yeah. Wee. Force pitch Jace. That's fine. Cherryman, thank you very much for the raid. For everyone who's tuning in, you just missed me hard cast an Omniscience. We'll try to do something cool and degenerate again next turn. Worth the price of admission already. So for those of you just tuning in, hi, my name's Phil Gallagher. I run Thraben University. Today we're doing a donation deck list. We are playing with blue-green Omniscience. We're currently 3-0 against a weird deck. It's kind of Miracles, but it also has, like, Lavinia in it. So, yeah. You don't really know what to tell you there. Yeah, I'm watching the clock. Yeah, Titania with no wastelands. There's all sorts of things going on. Reb, sure. Do it again. I will get Cunning Wish and Omniscience. What do I even Cunning Wish for? Just a win next turn once I have Omniscience? Or I can just Cunning Wish for shared summons, cast shared summons. Yeah, whatever. I'll figure it out next turn. I need to just give my opponent priority. 8, 9, 10. Omniscience. You can Snapcaster Red Blast. I think I just let you do that. Oh, shoot, I had Surgical Extraction. Oops. Sorry, now I'm looking at my clock more than I'm looking at my lines. It's fine. On my turn, I'll just cast Grizzlebrand. Yeah, so Wish for Surgical to stop that was the line, then hardcast Grizzlebrand. But once I clicked through the Snapcaster trigger, I lost the ability to do that. So end of their turn, I'll just Cunning Wish. I'll Cunning Wish for Disallow, and then I'll just cast Grizzlebrand with a counterspell backup. Do like Carpet of Flowers quite a bit. Yes, black. Yes, black. Yes, black. Land. Grizzlebrand. This would be kind of a Dagger's Veil of Summer. Yep. It's fine. Let's just draw Emrakul. I guess I could have just gotten shared summons off of the Wish. Just like shared summons for Emrakul. Just Emrakul, and just hardcast it the following turn. Alright, I have 6 lands. You don't actually shut me off of that many things. You do shut me off of Emrakul, though. That is multiple Lavinias, by the way. That's a second one. Yeah, Mindbreak Trap would have been better there, too. Yeah, okay, Lavinia does not stop Emrakul. It's non-creature. Well, there's a can't cast clause in there. That's what I was looking at. Sure. What is my opponent's deck? I don't really think casting that on Omniscience makes any sense when you're playing Lavinia, and I already don't have enough lands to cast Omniscience. So I will gladly let you pull those from my deck. Then I will just cycle Veil of Summer to try and draw a card and get myself out of this situation. Yeah, I'm going to take exactly one draw with Veil of Summer. What's up with that? Why can't I cast this? Oh, I see. Teferi. I can technically live for one more draw step, but I'm eyeing my clock now. So I 100% had that game if I was playing more slowly. So like, if I didn't just say okay to the Snapcaster Mage, I could have Cunning Wish, Surgical Reb, resolve a critical card, get the Grizzlebrand in play, win target game. Not 100%, but very, very likely. I also could have gone for Mindbreak Trap over Disallow to play around Veil. But it kind of is what it is there. That one wouldn't have mattered because my opponent counterspelled, I disallowed, they veiled that. That wasn't going to beat that spot, but like there were other ways that turn could have gone down where having the Mindbreak Trap would have been better. I think I'm just going to resubmit as is. I'm more likely to time out than to lose to this opponent. I spent too much time just like freaking out over my opponent's weird choices. Oh, my opponent doesn't have an island yet. No, don't want to use that. Opponent just plays island and pass to ramp me. I appreciate it. Put back Mystic Sanctuary and a land. Will fetch. Do this. Ponder. Start looking for show and tell or other piece. Put that back. Put that back. Do that. Shuffle. No. Preordain. Bottom. Bottom. Draw. Another show and tell is great. So now we just need the fatty. And go ahead and F6 through my opponent's turn for value. No, I'm not playing around back to basics. I am playing for absolute speed on my clock this game. So let's go put back land, show and tell, go land, pedal, cast a show and tell. Well, I guess that doesn't stop that. Try again next turn. We have another one. Oh, fuck, it can't be countered side. Alright, guess who doesn't play with blue cards? It's me. It's not an elegant job. Alright. They had that last turn too, unfortunately. So we have 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. We can probably get to 10 pretty quickly to just hardcast the Omniscience. I guess the City of Traders is awkward. So how many islands does my opponent need to play before we can just, like, hardcast Omni? That's the next question. So if they go up to the third one here, which isn't if because they have a Plains again. Alright, they do. Very much question getting Volcanic Island in the face of Carpet when they have something else to fetch and Astrolabe. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is 9. One more island means I can just hardcast Omni. So that will presumably be the last island that I need to hardcast Omni. I guess we have to shuffle that. Eh. So I'm looking to now find Grizzlebrand. No, I don't think we can realistically build towards the Emrakul, given this clock and this clock. Does my opponent know that Containment Priest doesn't do anything against my deck? I don't think they do. Yeah, I mean, like, we're gonna lose to this pile. That is what it is. Okay, that's fair. If I am on the alternative and probably worse version of this build, then yes. There. Why are you fetching Island? Like, I can't complain too much because I've made a couple of very bad errors this match, but like This is on board. All right. There goes the 5-0 dream. We're having a blast. The league's going okay. Like we're 3-1 right now. We just lost to a Lavinia deck with Titania and Active Authority. So life's a little weird. Excuse me, shall we say. Oh yes, and Deafening Silence. Yes, that too. It's been an interesting league. I'm not going to claim that the skill level in this league has been as great as it has been at other points this league. I don't know. I think Priest is pretty sketchy. So, like, blue-green Omnitell is usually playing two... Well, not usually. In the builds that I think are optimal, you're playing two creatures. One Grizzlebrand, one Emrakul. So the chances that you actually go for Show and Tell or Grizzlebrand or Emrakul are actually really, really, really low. You're almost always going for an Omniscience-based kill. So the question is, do I want to be able to try to go off next turn? I think the answer is yes. So if I find Soul Land next turn, I can Show and Tell with Force backup. We need the Show and Tell target, so I take this. Can I undo at this point? No. I should have left that Emrakul on top to play around discard. That should have been take the Flooded Strand, leave Emrakul on top. Your Delver is fine. I don't love it, but I think it's fine. And I think I just go for, like, Show and Tell on 4 mana. I have 2 lands on top of my deck. That gets me to 4 mana. I will not be dead by that based on clock. I think I'd try to draw out some counter magic by playing a Preordain into Daze. They're having none of it. Second Veil is probably fine. I think I'll go top, top, play this land, redraw that Veil. Yeah, top, top, that's all fine. So now we're just going to make land drops against the Delver deck until we feel like we can kill them. Delver itself is not a scary enough clock right now. Also, throwing it out there, we have received 1 of 3 subs towards a double stream tomorrow. 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. So if you want to support the stream and get an extra Legacy League out there tomorrow, just think about it. Remember, you can sub for free if you have that whole Twitch Prime dealy-mabob. Ooh, I actually don't have another blue card for the Force of Will. Yeah, I should have bottomed this Veil. That's fine. That just means I need to fetch with the Misty Rainforest. And I will just treat the first Veil like it is counterspell bait. I don't think I'm going to be so aggressive as to just cycle it. The other thing I can do by just playing patiently is just go on turn 5 with double Veil. No, if my opponent doesn't play out another threat, I'm probably okay. I do need to keep price of progress in mind, though. I don't really want to get mised by that. That's another attempt at a show and tell as well. So I don't hate fetch, then Veil of Summer. If it resolves, I get Emrakul. Or maybe I don't hate, like, just cast Veil of Summer. If it resolves, great. If it doesn't resolve, Mystic Sanctuary it back to the top of my library. And then go for show and tell with double Veil of Summer next turn. Yeah, Mystic is tap right now. I'm saying I can use it to put something on top of my library. Yeah, that's fine. What? Did it really just resolve? It just really resolved. I did not expect that. Oh. Well, okay. That's cool. So now this can't be countered. We get an Emrakul. We are going to have Force of Will back up for anything random our opponent that could do to get the Emrakul out of play. Emrakul very much feels like enough. I have Veil of Summer and Force of Will. My Annihilator trigger is certainly going to resolve. My opponent currently has 6 permanents. I get to block 3 damage if they did an all-out attack on their turn. Like, I don't think they're getting there. Like, if they bolt me twice, I go to 6. They can only attack me for 5. They have no more red mana after that. They would have 6 permanents. They would lose all of their permanents. They would need to have access to another red mana, 2 bolt effects, yet another red mana, and another bolt effect. So they would have to do that and somehow also beat Force and Veil. Oh, sorry, that is the 7th permanent. Bolt, counter magic, stifle? No, they stifle the Emrakul trigger. I force it, they counter, I veil, I win. I don't buy that. And the other thing is that if they take a full-on attack this turn, they lose a permanent, go down to 6 permanents, and then they lose everything. I'm also like not going to play into something like Price of Progress that can just destroy me here. Trop Oko plus Counterspell would be pretty good. But I think it's pretty safe to say we're playing against Blue-Red Delver here. I feel confident. Hidetsugu's second right. I don't think they can hit me for 2, though. Like, they would have to attack with just Snapcaster Mage. Yeah, so, I mean, I take the block. Hold back Snapcaster Mage. Because... reasons. I don't know, maybe they forgot Emrakul flies? Maybe they have some random card with Revolt? I'm saving my force of will for the thing that actually might kill me, in case you're wondering. So I am aware that this gives them one more permanent. Like, I have done that math. Yeah. This is definitely the softest league I've played all week. I've contributed to some soft leagues for other people playing my Curses decks. But just across the board tonight, it's been interesting. Opponent chose not to shuffle. Yeah, we haven't seen like a bolt effect yet or anything. Lightning bolt target me. What do I think about that? It puts me to 6, which is not lethal. So I attack them, they lose 6 permanents. It's 5 lands, 1 Snapcaster Mage. I go down to 6. So the interesting thing about going to 6 is that if I force a will, I'm at 5, which is dead to Snapcaster plus True Name. So on my turn, if I let this bolt resolve, I need to play Mystic Sanctuary so I can hard cast a force. I think that is my best line. So I think I'm going to let this go. It does mean that my Veil of Summer is off. If I have to hard cast the Force of Will, though. But my opponent shouldn't be able to counter back. Alright, so I put my opponent to 3. The opponent has a line that beats me. The line that beats me is, I guess, like Volcanic Island Bolt and Daze. So this is untapped. Can't do this one. Do I want an instant or sorcery on top? Yes, I will take Show and Tell on top for Grizzlebrand. Actually, no, that doesn't matter. Because True Name would just kill me through it the following turn anyway. I'll just put a cantrip on top. Yeah, I can't Ponder because I need to hard cast the Force of Will. Because pitch casting the Force of Will puts me to 5, which leaves me dead to Snapcaster True Name. So opponent either needs Red Source, Bolt, Blue Card, Force, or Volk, Bolt, Daze to beat me, which they don't have. Opponent not attacking with Snapcaster Mage was probably very costly for them this game. Do we even board anything against Delver? I guess we board Carpet of Flowers, because that card is great. But that's probably it. So what 3 cards am I cutting? Carpet is better than Petal. I'll probably trim at least one of those. I'm not sure how many petals I'm supposed to trim for carpets. Doing that's probably fine. And will my opponent board Surgical against me? And by that I mean my opponent, not my opponent's deck, but my opponent, given what I saw. Four or 5 Surgicals coming in. Maybe 7. Snapcaster Surgical, get them. I don't feel super safe playing Intuition against this opponent. I can wish for it if I need to. But I worry about the new player surgical everything approach from this opponent. Yes, I'm in. Carpet. GG. Let's do it. Because Carpet's so good, I might not even play it on turn 1. Like, in all seriousness, I want to play Carpet around Daze. Nice. Nice. Let's bottom Misty, top the Show and Tell, pass the turn. So the Misty is interesting because it gives us the basic forest that I would really like with this hand. but I have no cantrips currently, and I would like the ability to sculpt this hand. Because if my opponent doesn't play any pressure, I have all the time in the world. Alright, so now my opponent has a form of pressure. It's not a ton, but it's a good amount of pressure. That's not a great draw. Do I wait one more turn on the carpet to play it around Pierce in addition? Feels like I have that time. In before my opponent just like lets Carpet of Flowers resolve and then is like, oh god, what have I done? These are some very aggressive brainstorms from my opponent. I'm not saying they're wrong. I don't know my opponent's hand. But feels a little weird. Oh man, Flusterstorm. You know what doesn't counter Carpet of Flowers? It's Flusterstorm. Oh yes, another island. Delicious. Delicious island. So we play this around Pierce, we play this around Daze, we play this around Fluster, and then it gives us 3 mana. Which is very strong in a matchup of limited resources. More brainstorm. So this would have to be Force of Will or Force of Negation. So our best draws are like Veil, another Show and Tell, something like Drawn Through Dreams isn't bad if Carpet resolves. Alright, Force of Negation, pitching a Stifle. Okay, that's fine. That was obviously quite good for my opponent because they have 5 damage worth of pressure now. But, like, Veil of Summer would mean that we could beat a Flusterstorm. Also, is my opponent playing red cards? I'm pretty sure I saw red cards last game. Just a little confused about it. And why is a Snapcaster made of a triangle on it? What's up with this triangle in the corner? Danger. It represents that the Snapcaster is dangerous. Bottom with Preordain. Brainstorm seems fine. I will just fire that off immediately, because we have some sequences that will just let us win this turn. Oh my god, like that. Holy crap. So we go cast Veil. If it resolves, show and tell. My opponent flusters it. Cool. Cast show and tell anyway. Followed by another show and tell the next turn. What do I put back? I'm putting back one Omni for sure. And the second card is trickier. The lifelink of Grizzlebrand is great, but I may not have time to do that if my opponent has something like a Brazen Borrower to bounce Grizzlebrand. So I think I'm going to put Grizzlebrand on top. I will play out Lotus Petal. Stifle is awkward off this fetch land. So I think I'm going to go ahead and fetch now rather than later. My opponent is very actively not fetching red cards, so I think all their bolts are just boarded out. That may not be true, but I'm going to play as if that is the case. So my opponent has to counter this. They have to counter the next show and tell. And they have to counter the next show and tell after that. Opponent needs straight gasoline. Alright, this is as expected. Excuse me. I also enjoy the gasoline. Two cards left, opponent. What do you have? Is it 2 more counter spells? It probably needs to be 2 more counter spells. Alright, there's your first one. We need to have another. I can potentially find one. I can wait 1 turn if I need to. But it's dangerous. So 5 damage here puts me to 6, which means opponent chooses to shuffle. I like that. So I will jam since my opponent chose to shuffle. I don't want to die to just, like, land bolt or equivalent. I don't think my opponent has bolts in, given how they fetched. Oh man, opponent, why would you show me Island? Why would you do that to yourself? So now I get to play this around Fluster, Pierce. Sure. Got to play that around Fluster, Pierce, Daze, Snapcaster for any of the above. That's a little tilting. Super, super happy with how we played out this game. But now we need to draw another show and tell off the top or we die. Disappointing. Oh, do we only have 2 mana open? So we don't beat Snap Fluster. Okay, yeah, we don't beat Snap Fluster. You're right. Could not beat Cancel. That is correct. I mean, opponent needed to have 3 counter spells, and they had all 3, so say la vie. Don't think I'm going to change anything about how I boarded. It's tempting to bring the intuition back in, but I don't think I'm going to do that. List feels great. Since I know my opponent has Stifle, I'm just going to fetch a basic island here and probably just pass the turn. I may or may not brainstorm at their end step, depending on what they do. No Delver is good for me. That means I have time. If they played Delver, I probably would have just brainstormed in response. But now that there's no pressure, this seems fine. Let's just brainstorm. Veil of Summer. That's good. We'll take our time with that. So I think this is a fine opportunity to just put back the Clunk from our hand and continue to hit land drops. This is beautiful. There's an entire podcast episode of Eternal Glory, or sorry, not Eternal Glory, Everyday Eternal, that you should listen to if you want to know the exact answer to that question and the advantages of this deck list. So I think I'm going to go take all of this in this order. The short version is that Veil of Summer is really stupid good. It just helps you win all of the matches against the blue decks. Now, the mana base is whatever. Like, if you're playing a splash color, there's going to be very marginal differences between your builds. Like, you do equal damage to your mana base with any splash. And it's pretty much free by this deck standards. It's just like Veil is really strong. So that's no shuffle from my opponent. So I'll just pass the turn here. If my opponent taps out for something, they should be afraid for their life. The lower my opponent taps, the better it is for me. Let's just impulse. We also have a very realistic win via timeout available to us. I don't think I will flinch if my opponent... Jeez. If my opponent counters this. I think I'd take the carpet. But these are... Each one of these is incredibly powerful. That's like the best draw on my deck right there. I'm so happy to see that card. I will definitely consider fighting over this carpet of flowers. Pitch a Narset. Okay. Do I want to brainstorm, fetch, then Veil, or just like Veil now? The issue is that I lose my shuffle effect off the brainstorm if I just fetch. I have to get a trap here, unfortunately. No, High Tide has not happened yet. So as of right now, what's tomorrow morning? Tomorrow morning is the Painter Breach deck. And then High Tide is next in the queue after that. So all these are targeting Veil of Summer. Okay. So those can go. No, I won't pay for that. And those are gone. So then the next question is, do I want to force back? And I think the answer is no. I think I just like let the carpet go at this point. And just keep the force to fight over a show and tell later. Yes, High Tide is in the queue as well. I'm just going to pass the turn here instead of brainstorming. My opponent has no pressure on me, so I'm not in any hurry until they play a threat. Flash Brazen Borrower. I'm probably okay using a Force of Will on this just to, like, have 0 clock in play. I don't love it. But my opponent has no pressure otherwise. I think I'm going to force and pitch my Cunning Wish. Yeah, you can have that. That's not the best for me, but that's an okay trade-off. That one I let go. Alright, so now I have the ability to go for it. I'm going to save the Brainstorm for another turn cycle. Again, don't really want to get Brainstorm locked. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, this is ticking down and my opponent isn't necessarily making decisions quickly. Probably because they're new, more than anything else. But we don't necessarily... Ooh, that's interesting. I'm going to take this opportunity to Brainstorm. The cities are okay, but I'm going to go ahead and toss them back so that I can just look at some fresh cards with Ponder. Any future land means that I can get another attempt at a show and tell. So now we're essentially just looking for something to do with Omniscience and some other card to pair with this. So that can be another attempt at a show and tell. So that's not the worst draw. That is a very aggressive Snapcaster Mage. That is just an Ambush Viper. Really don't know about that from the opponent. It may work out in their favor if I just like brick off and can't find something to do with Omniscience, but like Snap Fluster seems pretty good right now. Yeah, Menacing Triangle is gone. So like that plays like just super embarrassing if I have something like an Ice Fang Coatl, right? That makes more sense now. That's so awkward for me because I can't really force it. But it also means that lethal is being represented, so I just have to go for it, and then my long-term plan of show and tell a second time doesn't work. Alright, yeah, that is what it is. Yeah, so we just bricked off. That's super, super unfortunate. Yep, 8 damage. I can show and tell for Omniscience, and then die. Out of curiosity, do you have a counterspell as your last thing that like somehow beats the show and tell? No, you don't. So, just like talking through this, if opponent had what is this meme night tonight? Like, what on earth is happening tonight when it comes to just like the weird things that we're playing against? This die. This just dies if you can't exchange. Do you think they see the onboard line of attack? They've seen the line. That's a really disappointing loss. Definitely feel like we deserve better than a 3-2 tonight with this deck. You know, is what it is. I made a couple of mistakes during the league. A couple of decisions didn't break my way. But, like, I feel like we played wonderfully in that last match there. Like, forcing our opponent to just have, like, counterspell after counterspell after counterspell. And they just did. And at a couple of critical moments, we bottomed out. Like, I think I played very smart playing the Carpet of Flower around, like, Daze and Pierce because it was critical to fight over. I fought over it a little bit, you know, decided to give up the fight, like, Veiled, it got countered, Show and Tell, it got countered, Show and Tell again, it got countered. That one just didn't break our way. A little curious about some of the opponent's play patterns. Multiple rounds. But, you know, is what it is there. Alright, so someone was asking about the donation queue. So tomorrow morning we're playing a Painter Breach deck. Tomorrow, if we hit the donation goal for another stream, I'll stream High Tide in the evening. Otherwise, that'll be Monday night's stream. And then we have a Prison deck, a Stasis deck, and a Dealer's Choice for something fun coming up in the not-too-distant future. Kaligaru, it will be approximately 9 a.m. Eastern Time. It's whenever I've gotten up and eaten breakfast. Maybe a little later, depending on, you know, how late I end up staying out tonight. Girlfriend is in a play, so she wants to go out and, like, grab some food when the play is over tonight, so we're going to go out and do that. But if we don't end up too late, it'll probably be 9. If we end up staying out late, it'll be probably closer to 10 in the morning. That's the game plan. Looking forward to that. And Callum sent me an updated list that was updated from beyond what he had posted previously. So really looking forward to that. Also on the list of things that I'm looking forward to is this deck list. This is a thing of beauty. Look at this, chat. Look at this. I haven't gotten to play with, like, Nahiri since I played Modern, I think. I tried to shove this into a Legacy deck list once, and I believe it was an absolute disaster. So, this deck looks super, super fun, and it has the best card in the format. So, like, we got that going for us. And, yeah, then we got a Stasis deck in the queue as well. So, lots of fun things coming up. Alright. I think that's going to do it for me tonight. If you're enjoying, folks, please consider, like, doing something like a donation deck list or subscribing or just following to support my channel. The support means a lot. I am on, I think, day 6 of streaming Legacy in a row, or I guess more accurately, 6 streams so far this week. Looking to make it 7 tomorrow morning. Really trying to do my best to support the Legacy community. So cheers. I don't see any of my usual suspects up here. Legacy streams, you got anything for me? That site hasn't been working too well for me. I'm just gonna host someone randomly here. So / raid Liberty MTG. We'll see what they're about. Cheers.